Hello and welcome to Higher or Lower, a show brought to you by Oddschecker, sponsored by SpreadX and Sporting Index. This week we're looking at the Championship and Premier League spread betting markets, taking the midpoint and telling you whether we think it will be higher or lower. I'm joined, as I was last week, by Leon to my right.
Hello.
And Jack to my left.
Hello.
A very positive week last week, lots of winners. I'll have to start with you because you had quite a hefty nap winner.
I did, yeah. It went exactly according to plan, didn't it? I said about the selling booking points in Brentford versus Manchester United. Realistically needed a clean slate in the first half. They delivered that, and there was a few in the second half, but it did not matter. So we got the maximum win out of that, so very happy.
Lovely stuff. And then that winner for you too, Leon.
Yeah, 24 minutes it took us to score against Brighton, and then it all fell apart. But a nice 10-plus point winner there, yeah.
Very good. I have to be quite nice to George at this point because I think the host seat must be cursed with the naps because he loses every week, and I did too last week.
Okay.
It's
been a seamless transition.
Yeah, exactly. Right, on to this week's action then, and we start with a Hollywood fixture in the Championship. It's Wrexham versus Birmingham. Birmingham, a team that Jack and I have rattled? I don't know. Maybe rattled is the right word.
I've had lots of fun interactions with the Birmingham fans over the start of the season, although not heard a lot from you recently. Don't know why.
Yeah, all gone very quiet in the Birmingham side, but maybe this is where they'll pipe up again. We're looking at the total goals market here. 2.55 to sell and 2.75 to buy, which means a midpoint of 2.65. So 3 goals here is a winner if you go higher, 2 or fewer if you go lower is a winner. 3, 2, 1. All 3 of us on higher. Tell me then, Jack, why is this going to be a goal fest?
Yeah, I just felt there'd be more likely to be goals than none, to be honest. Fortunes have flipped over recent weeks. Birmingham did start the season pretty strong, didn't they? And Wrexham was struggling. Parkinson was at risk, although I think they still talk of that. But they're unbeaten in 4 now across all competitions, Wrexham. Birmingham only 1 win in 6. So not the form of title winners there. We'll see if they can turn around. It's early days, of course. The key thing for me is they conceded 5 goals in the last 2 games, which is alarming for them. Is this going to be a bit of an ego battle? You say it's a Hollywood battle. Certainly they obviously fought it out last season. Expected to still perform well this season. Birmingham probably more so than Wrexham. But I like Wrexham going forward, certainly. They've scored in all 6 home games this season, but they've conceded in 5 of those. Birmingham failed to score in the last 3 on the road, but they've conceded in 4 away games. But I think they can score against Wrexham, and I think Wrexham will score. So that gets us more than on the way to what we need here, 3 or more goals for the higher to land. And I think we will see that on Friday night.
Yeah, Leon?
Yeah, I haven't got too much of a strong opinion here. I think I'd lean under if Stansfield doesn't play. I think he's a doubt coming into Friday. But I'm going to be a bit of a cop-out and say this should be an entertaining game for all the international viewers watching, and it should live up to the Championship Super Bowl that it's entitled.
Yeah, very good. I think the key thing for me here is I think both teams score. And so when you only need another goal on top of both teams scoring, it seems quite achievable. You've got a team in Wrexham who have yet to win at home in the league, so they'll be super keen to get a win here against, both these teams came up last season, so constantly trying to outperform the other promoted side. So Wrexham will be really keen here, and Birmingham have been pretty poor away from home, particularly this season. In Wrexham's last 4 league games, or all their home league games, you've had 5 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals, and 2 goals. The 2 there, not ideal, obviously, but the rest getting over the line here easily. So, yeah, I think goals. I think 3 is very achievable here, and yeah, as you said, Championship Super Bowl is a good way of putting it. Hopefully,
you got to just play into the narrative sometimes, and this is one of those games.
Hopefully, loads of touchdowns here for us all there to get a winner. Right, enough of the Championship for now. Well, let's head to the Premier League. Bournemouth versus Fulham. We're looking at total goal minutes here, which is the accumulated time of each goal scored. 140 is the midpoint here, so 135 to sell, 145 to buy. 3, 2, 1. Or Leon, you're the outlier here, mate, so you'll have to start.
Well, it's the same as last week, isn't it? I went higher on Brentford United, and there was 4 goals in the game, and it still didn't hit the line. I think I'm a bit scarred by that. I think I have to play under here. Bournemouth home goal minutes have gone 4, 127 and 0. So there's a heavy win on selling if it does stay under the line. I think Marco Silva want to make a point. He conceded 3 away to Villa last week. I think they're going to shut up shop a bit. If Fulham do hold and play deep, I don't know how much quality Bournemouth have to break a team down like that just yet. So I'm going to go against recent head-to-heads, which do go over this goal line as well, and say it's going to be a cagey 1-0, 1-1-all kind of game.
Nice. Interesting that you said you're going to go against the recent record, because that's exactly why I'm going higher here. So that kind of nullifies my rationale. But the one thing I've got for you is the 3-1 defeat to Villa, made up exactly 140. So if that happens again, well, it'll just be a shake of hands and a void here. But Jack, I need some more from you to make me feel more comfortable.
Yeah, this is a tough one to call, I think. But I think because it probably will be tight, I'm going on the fact that Semenyo scored in the first minute last season. We do not want that.
No, we don't.
We'd rather it be tight and then go later. And I think I'm kind of going with the fact that we might see late goals here because it is going to be tight. For much of the reason you said, Silva, I think after that 3-1, he was a bit waspy about it, a bit angry about it. They collapsed. I don't think he'll want to repeat of that. So I think they should keep it tight, especially also, which will go against goals, is the fact that Muniz is obviously out and probably, certainly possibly, Jimenez out as well after that injury in scoring that goal last week. So where their goals come from is an issue, but they are the both teams to score kind of staple diet for bettors of that market. They were the most happened most frequently last season, and it's sort of followed a similar trend this season round. So it's not a strong play, I'll be honest, but I just think that Bournemouth have got that firepower with Kluivert back fit now. Evan Nielsen, Kluivert, Semenyo, there's goals in them, and I think they can, against the Fulham side that I think are pretty weak defensively, I think they can probably do the work for us here and get that higher over the line.
Very good. We're off to Leeds now then, where they take on Tottenham. We're looking at the first match goal market, which is as simple as it sounds. The midpoint here is 36.5. So if you're going lower, you're expecting a goal in the first 36 minutes, or if you're going higher, you're expecting a goal after the 36th minute. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Leon, you're again here.
You love going against me.
Yeah.
You can tell we don't check notes beforehand. I'm going lower. I went lower last week in the Sunderland Forest game, and I believe it was the 36th minute for that, and Sunderland scored in the 37th. So that was a tough one there. But this week I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I can see Ellen Road bouncing for the early kick-off. Tottenham had just come back from Norway, which was a draining game for them. I can see Leeds putting the early pressure on. I can see Leeds scoring first and before this line. And if you look at the last stint, although it was a different team, Leeds' last stint in the Premier League, all 6 head-to-heads saw a goal before the 36th. At Ellen Road, the opening goals came in the 2nd, 10th and 13th minute. So I'm going to go with that trend.
There we go. Jack, why is Leon wrong?
I think Thomas Frank will know about Leeds and their home form being strong and the crowd, and they want to try and keep it quiet, keep it tight. 2 clean sheets for Leeds at home so far this season, including a 0-0 with Newcastle, which would obviously be the perfect result for this bet. Yeah. Max is out. And so I think those Spurs midweek exploits as well. Injuries taking a little bit of a bite on them. I think this could be a little bit of a subdued, maybe even a back-to-the-wall effort for Tottenham. Their top goal scorer currently this season is own goals with 4. So it shows that they're struggling in that firepower aspect. But they have kept a couple of away clean sheets. One was at West Ham, which isn't probably that much to shout about. But to go to Manchester City and keep a clean sheet is something certainly to be proud of, especially with Haaland in the form he's been in this season. So I think that the defensive process is better than the attack for Tottenham, and they'll be conscious of keeping that Leeds fan base quiet and their forward line quiet. So I'm going for a slow burner in the early kickoff. Yeah,
I think so too. I'm going for a very simple rationale here. Average time of first goal in Leeds games this season is 48, and that goes up to 55 at Ellen Road.
Perfect.
Done. 55 would be a lovely win for buyers here, as Jack and I are. On to the big one then. Well, in fact, there's 2 big ones this week, but the first big one is Chelsea versus Liverpool. We're looking at the supremacy market here, which is the amount that the favourites beat the underdogs by. Liverpool, although the away side, are the favourites here, 0.25 favourites over Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So higher would be a Liverpool win, lower would be a Chelsea win or a draw. So you get double chance on Chelsea there if you go lower and you are a seller. Off the 3 then, 3, 2, 1. Leon, going against your own team.
Have you watched Chelsea recently? Firstly, I think Galatasaray midweek, anybody could go to Galatasaray and lose. I think it's a kind of a freak result. They played a bit of a new front four there. I expect it to go back to normal this weekend. We were good against Brighton last week before we got the red card. We should have scored maybe a few more than the one that we had in the first half, and then Chalobah just killed us and essentially killed our centre-back pairings. I think it's going to be Badiashile and Hato / Ashiampong versus that Liverpool front four. I think they're going to score 2 or 3. I can't see us keeping up with that. Even in the winner over Benfica midweek, I was there and they looked dangerous every time they went forward, and their front four isn't that scary. I think Liverpool comfortably beat us, unfortunately.
Fair enough. I mean, to caveat my prediction here, I'm going with this, hoping that Chelsea actually decide to play with 11 men this time, because it seems like they're getting a red card every game, which, I probably would lean slightly more on your side if that's the case again here. But Chelsea won 3-1 at Stamford Bridge against Liverpool last season. And to my memory, this game, aside from that one, always ends in a draw. So getting the draw on side is massive here. I think 7 of the last 11 games between these two teams has been a draw. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't been that impressed by Liverpool yet this season. I know they've been saved by lots of last-minute goals, or late goals, should I say. And I think the cracks are really starting to show now. He had defeat in the league at the weekend, and then defeat against Galatasaray. I think question marks are starting to be asked. Florian Wirtz coming in, not looking as good as Liverpool probably thought, and it's definitely going to take a little bit longer than they expected to get going. I don't know. This is a really interesting game, and I'm certainly not strong on it, but getting the draw on side is massive for me.
Yeah, I think both sides would probably take a draw at this moment in time, which is always nice to then have in your pocket, because I think they just need to steady the ship a little bit. You know, Chelsea, those back-to-back league defeats, Liverpool back-to-back defeats, obviously with that loss in midweek. Jamie Carragher described them as a mess. And you say they have been winning late and kind of getting out of jail. I'd probably say they're in like third gear at the moment. So to have had the record at the start of the season they've had, we always use the words unsustainable. It was unsustainable when it's kind of come to pass in the last couple of games where they've been caught out. Yeah, rotated against Galatasaray, but you look at Galatasaray, they shipped 5 goals on match day 1 and then kept a clean sheet against Liverpool, who did obviously bring the bigger guns on later on. Salah, I think, has been, again, not himself at the start of the season. Isaac's obviously still trying to catch up with his fitness and work his way and gel into this side. Ekitike was taken off injured. Alisson was taken off injured, which could be a massive loss for them. I think there's so many question marks. I think they both like to go into the international break, getting a point and moving on. And I say with all those late winners, you look at 5 defeats in 8 on the road for Liverpool. The wins coming against Leicester, Burnley, and Newcastle with 10 men. And that was a late winner as well, wasn't it? So I just think that the underlying data supports the fact that Liverpool haven't quite been performing. I think Chelsea can get something out of it. So yeah, to have both results on side is the way I've gone with it.
Hope you're right.
Good. You'll take the lose here for the win there.
Good stuff. Right, that's the first big one out of the way. The second big one, especially for you, Jack, is Ipswich versus Norwich. We're sticking with the supremacy market here. Ipswich, the home team, are the favourites, 0.85 favourites, so quite heavy favourites, I suppose. So if you think Ipswich will win, you'd be higher, you'd be a buyer. If you think Norwich will win or a draw, you would throw up the lower paddle or be a seller in the spread betting market. So let's find out what the guys here are going to do. After 3, 2, 1. You're going out of your way here, I'm sure to be.
I'm trying to keep my good friend across the table happy.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm trying to maintain relationships.
You've been successful. Thank you.
Well, 16 years. I think I'll pass over to you.
Is it 16 years?
16 years
16
since
years.
Ipswich beat Norwich.
Wow. Didn't realise that.
And that, I think recent form goes out the window. I think it's a bit of a cliche, but it does in derby games. I think that Nunes switch transfer in the summer will just add an increased edge to the game. This could be, if Norwich don't get where they want to be in the top 6, this will be the biggest game of the season by far. And it is a cup final to these fans. I'll let the supporter take over, but yeah, I'm backing Norwich.
Here we go then. Your notes are very elaborate.
They are, aren't they? Norwich have been terrible this season. Absolutely awful. Unbeaten on the road, somehow. They've conceded 50 shots in the last 2 away games. That's no way to go about getting positive results. They've somehow managed to get it at Coventry, where Coventry missed I think their XG was like 4 Coventry that day, and they managed to get a last-minute equaliser. Stoke, much the same, missed lots and lots of chances. Went to Portsmouth and got a win. Portsmouth missed a penalty and hit a bar. Went to Blackburn, got a win. Blackburn had a man sent off in the first half. Norwich scored a penalty. All those things that have said, well, that run's unsustainable. They've been nicking points. Last night's performance was marginally better, but it's been turgid, it's slow, and Ipswich are, we saw them rip Sheffield United apart 5-0 recently at home. They then beat Portsmouth 2-1 at home. Their home form is fairly strong. That's on the road where they struggled a little bit. But strictly speaking, stripping everything out of it, looking at this objectively as a game between two sides, Ipswich are streets clear of Norwich at the moment, both in personnel and in form. Look, Norwich went to the Derby a couple of seasons ago when they last played it, expecting to lose, and they managed to get a draw and then a win at home. I'd be shocked, but delighted if that was the case this time round. But I have to go with an Ipswich win, and I would suggest to say that even if this was over 1, I would still go higher. I'd expect a comfortable Ipswich win in this one, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, there's literally nothing I can add to that. That's very compelling. The only thing that worries me here for the higher, which backs you up, is the draw thing. Obviously, you have that 16 years unbeaten, but no team have drawn more games than Ipswich in the league this season. They obviously are the home side too, which is a massive advantage for our rationale. But we do always say local derbies can be quite tight. I'm hoping that's not the case here. I'm hoping Ipswich comes flying out the trap.
Look, this could be a game that Liam Mannon needs to get a positive result to save his job, because it's that bad at the moment. The fans have turned, and it's very early days in his reign. But he's got to get a positive result here. Obviously, the Nunes thing has put pressure on the sporting director who sold him as well, thinking you're cashing in, but you got to think of the bigger picture. There's so many narratives around this. But it's a worry. Ipswich aren't in the best of form. You've said that, but I think, looking at it objectively, it can only be an Ipswich win for me.
I think the first goal here is crucial as well. If Ipswich score in the first 20 minutes, then I'm going to be on my arse here.
Yeah, their fourth goal could be crucial as well.
No pressure, Norwich City. Right, on to the final game then before we talk about our naps. It's Brentford hosting Manchester City. Go for total goals here with a 3.2 midpoint. So if you're a buyer and you're putting up the higher paddle, you need 4 goals for this to make up. 3, 2, 1.
You just copy what he does. Don't you?
Go on, Leon.
Compare notes and copy. Okay, I went over on Brentford United last week.
Yeah.
Or the minutes, and I was keen on the goals, and that landed. This week, I'm not so sure. I think City, after a game they should have won and were dominating, to then go and concede 2 goals. I think Monaco had less than 10 shots. I don't think they're really in the game. I think Pep is going to be hounding that defence. I do rate the City defensive unit as well, especially if Rodri back in front of them. And I think if they're going to win the title, this is a must-win game. And must-win games, for me, tend to lean towards the under in goals. City. I think City need to keep it strong at the back in this game. And Man United got hit arguably 3 times on the counter-attack against Brentford last week. I don't think City will be done the same way.
Fair enough. I mean, I think Haaland makes this up on his own.
There's chances, isn't there?
He's just in fine form, as he always seems to be. You mentioned the United game, 4 goals, 4 XG. If that happens again here, then we're laughing. Brentford have conceded the 4th most XG of any team in the Premier League. And if you ship chances against Manchester City, you can bet your bottom dollar that Man City, and particularly Haaland, will take them. This fixture made up 4 last time, so I'm expecting something similar here.
Yeah, all the same reasons, really. I was put at the top of my page is, can you trust City to keep a clean sheet? You probably can't. They conceded against Burnley last week from not a lot of chances. They are finding ways, and I think they will flood forward. And one thing Brentford are pretty good at is on the counter-attack, as you then mentioned, Leon. As far as that was concerned last week, we saw that. And they've got a real workhorse up front. They found another one there. Will work yourself into the ground and give the City defence a real hard time. So expect plenty of fouls from him, but possibly getting on the score sheet as well. He likes to give the ball a thump, don't he? That's for certain. And as does Erling Haaland, of course, with his goal scoring record. And as you say, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get another couple here as well. And also, you've got to look at Doku, who's come into form this season, going a bit under the radar, but he's got 3 assists so far. Only Grealish has got more than him on that. And that defensive process you talk about from Brentford is poor. And also actual goals conceded, which is crucial, of course. 11 they've conceded, only the bottom 3 have conceded more than that. So I think City could potentially have a bit of a field day here against a Brentford side that they're kind of getting results to kind of take the heat off a little bit, but I'm not convinced by the underlying data or the actual process that they're as good as possibly where they are at the moment. So City to take this one and score some goals.
Very nice. Right, on to the naps then, the best bets of the week after your huge winner last week. Jack, I'll let you start.
OK, I'm going with the Premier League game here, Wolves versus Brighton. And my selection is for Brighton total goal minutes, which is a midpoint of 84. And I am going higher than that, based around this terrible Wolves defence. Now, they did change to a back 4 last time out and kept Tottenham pretty quiet until the last seconds. But I think that was more down to Tottenham's poor performance than Wolves being ultra efficient. You look at their home games so far this season, lost 4-0 to Manchester City, 3-2 to West Ham, or they beat West Ham 3-2, lost 3-2 to Everton and lost 3-1 to Leeds. Those games for the visitors making up minutes of 213, 113, 95 and 115. Brighton have scored 21 in 8 games across all competitions this season, an average of 2.63 per game. Their last game was that one we talked about at Chelsea. Obviously, they scored 2 in the 90th minute there, or 90 plus. That made up 257 minutes for them in that game. So a repeat of that would be very, very nice. And they've scored 20 goals in their last 7 meetings with Wolves across all venues. 114 in this game last season, the minutes made up. 130 in the home game. And you look at the last few, 0-0 at home, but before that, a 4-1 win, 167, away again at Wolves. A 6-0 win at home, 198, a 3-2 win away, 137, and a 3-0 win away, 198. So covered this line absolutely easily in all of those games and in recent games as well. So I'm going for Brighton to rack up a few more here, higher than 84 midpoint total goal minutes.
Very nice. Leon, over to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got to go back to Chelsea, and I'll give you one guess on what market I'm going for. Yes,
Cards.
Chelsea booking points is going to be the nap. Our disciplinary record is awful in our last 3 seasons. We're the worst in the Premier League. Our last 4 games, we've gone 45, 65, 40 and 75, which would see a comfortable winner. I think this line is 25.5 the midpoint, so you need 3 Chelsea cards or just 1 red, which we've had 3 in the last 4. And if we're looking back over the last 12 games against the Big 6, I've added in Newcastle here for purposes, so the Toon Army are happy. Buying Chelsea cards at Saturday's line, you'd be up 124 points over the past 12 games.
Nice.
So I'm happy to follow this trend, and I think Liverpool will win, and I think we'll get frustrated and give away some cheap, sloppy yellows.
Nice. Very compelling. I think my one probably would have you in a lot of profit as well if you'd back this over the years, but I'm not sure you'd get this line. But anyway, I'm going to Arsenal versus West Ham, and I think you can probably guess where I'm thinking here. I'm going for headed goal minutes at 36.5. This just seems like a very obvious one to me. I'm quite surprised you didn't go for it. Arsenal top the par with headed goals in the Premier League this season with 5 scored already. West Ham also have 2, so if they could chip in here as well, that would be lovely. Arsenal scored the most goals from set pieces. But West Ham have had the most headed shots of any team in the Premier League with 23. So again, if both teams can score headed goals, you'd struggle to believe that this doesn't make up. The markets are expecting Arsenal to run right here against West Ham. I think the supremacy line is over 2 in favour of Arsenal, which is probably the highest I maybe have ever seen. So yeah, I'm expecting Arsenal to dominate West Ham, particularly in the air. Everyone knows how good they are from set pieces, from corners, from free kicks whipped in. Gabriel scored the winner against Newcastle with his head late on against Newcastle, as I already said, which again would be a huge winner just on its own here. So headed domination from Arsenal.
Moreno scored ahead of that for the first goal in that
game.
game.
He did.
Yeah, 80 odd minutes as well. So
there we
would
go.
have made up 170 minutes just on their own.
Well, let's just hope that happens again then.
And what Keane did Michael Keane score in?
Oh yeah,
against West Ham.
He did, yeah, exactly. So I am stealing your bet here completely. So
teamwork makes the dream work, mate.
Exactly, exactly. So 36.5, a buy of headed goal minutes in Arsenal versus West Ham for me. Right, that brings us to a close then for this week. Thanks very much, Jack and
Thank you.
Leon.
Cheers.
Hopefully more nap winners from you two. Thanks very much to you guys for joining. Check out oddschecker for all of your fixed odds needs ahead of a bumper slate of football this weekend. Check out SpreadX and Sporting Index for your spread betting and fixed odds bets. They've got some great prices and some great offers if you're a new account, so definitely check them out. But do read up on spread betting and make sure that you keep in mind that with spread betting, losses can exceed deposit. Please gamble responsibly this weekend, but most of all, enjoy the football, and we'll see you next time.